So, as you'll see, for this game I will be playing the role of Graves. He is an AD carry along with 13 other AD carries, as noted on the title screen. The other 13, of course, being Ashe, Caitlyn, Corki, Draven, Ezreal, Graves, Kog'Maw, Misfortune, Sivir, Tristana, Twitch, Vayne, Urgot, and Varus. Now, these champions are considered standard AD carries because they get played often in the metagame, and they're good in this role for a couple of reasons. They all have at least some abilities that scale off of bonus attack damage. Their auto attack ranges are pretty decently far. I don't really remember which one has the shortest. I think it's Vayne with 550, but that's plenty for the role. And that's basically all you really need to be a good AD carry champion. I'm sure that there will be people in the comments telling me otherwise, but my knowledge is limited about this role because I don't really play that often, and that may come through in this game. I have very little memory of what happens, but... So as for your starting items, most commonly you will be starting with boots and 3 potions. On the off chance that you have a highly sustaining champion, you can start with a Doran's Blade and just get healed by that champion, such as Soraka. So as noted in my support video, it's pretty common for the bot lane, which is a AD carry and support combination usually, on blue side to get golems. But in this situation, Janna went top to ward the river for mid and top lane, so she came back a little late and couldn't really do it in a timely fashion. So, currently, the bot lane in this matchup is going to be myself on Graves and Janna versus a Vayne and Taric combination. Now, in the support video, I mentioned that bot lane is pretty dead for a lot of the time. As you'll note, this first half of the video will probably just be me farming bot lane to the best of my ability. Now, to touch up a bit on farming, I mentioned that it was just the process of getting the last hit onto a minion to get gold. That is the most common way that champions are going to get gold in any lane in the game. As you'll note, I am not really doing a whole lot of auto-attacking until I know that the auto-attack will kill the minion. This is to avoid the lane from pushing towards the enemy turret, which would make us vulnerable to ganks from the enemy jungler, and it's just pretty much unnecessary to auto-attack unless you're either getting the last hit, intentionally pushing the wave, or harassing the enemy champion. Now, a couple times so far already in lane, I've just been kind of right-clicking on the Vayne, and I can do this and get away pretty cleanly because Graves has a higher auto-attack range than Vayne, as well as being a bit stronger than Vayne in general. And what that harass enables me to do is just get some damage onto Vayne and make her a bit hesitant for being as far down the lane as she could be, within range of minions and getting last hits. This is a pretty common tactic, not just in bot lane, but in other lanes as well. Just harassing the enemy champion to keep them from farming every single minion. Failed buckshot, but it's okay. So a game mechanic concerning auto-attacking champions is that when you auto-attack a champion, you'll notice that the minions will have this yellow outline around them. That means that they are now attacking you. And minions, while pretty weak as like a single minion, like you can easily 1v1 a minion obviously, with any significant number of minions, you're going to start to take a lot of damage if you auto-attack that enemy champion and they all start to focus you. So one way you can circumvent that aggro is by walking into the bush, which I don't think I do at all this game. But if you walk into the bush while the minions have aggro on you, they will drop aggro unless there is a ward in the bush that enables them to see you. One thing I didn't mention in my support video is this fact, which can help you identify whether or not the enemy has a bush warded. So right now, our lane is pretty pushed up into their enemy turret, and our ward in the bottom river has faded. So this is a pretty precarious position. But luckily Janna has positioned herself to see any incoming jungle ganks. Moreover, Hecarim is currently spotted in mid lane, so we are pretty safe being this far up in the lane.
Let's settle the score.
So as I said before, it's just a lot of farming in bot lane. Now, here you saw me dash forward with Graves' quick draw, land some auto attacks and a Q. Now that's pretty committed harassment, and it pushes the lane a bit more, but you'll also note how low Vayne got. Now Vayne also started with the boots and 3 health potions, and she even has a healer for a support. However, with all this harassment from me, and I take a couple of turret shots, with all this harassment from me, she's pretty low. So if I keep up the harassment, I can either chip her down low enough to kill her with a turret dive or something, or I can just force her to back away from the lane, and have to buy more health potions and whatnot. So that helps in 2 ways. It means that she will be behind in experience because she was gone from the lane. She'll be behind in gold because she was, again, gone from the lane. And she'll probably end up buying her core items, her core damage items, a bit later because she had to spend money on health potions that she probably didn't want to in the first place. So here, our Janna wants to leave, so I push up the wave and go back myself. So with my 1450-ish gold, I buy a couple Doran's Blades, a ward, and potions again. I'm not that far ahead of Vayne in CS currently, so my harass wasn't really doing all that it could. There's a bit of a skirmish in our jungle, and it ends up in our favor. So I buy a ward just to help our support, and the health potions are once again to just keep me alive.
Got any bright ideas?
So there goes a bit more harass onto Vayne while Taric was gone, and it was a bit of a 2-on-1. So now, I let the enemy minions push towards our turret. This opens up bot lane to ganks from our jungler, as well as just the inability for them to pressure us as hard as we could be pressured while in the middle of the lane.
Feeling lucky?
We spot the enemy Hecarim coming down through the river, so we back off.
End of the line.
We then poke around the bottom half of the jungle for a little bit, just to make sure that Hecarim's not stealing anything. And he pops his ultimate, and I burn my flash to make sure that I don't get Vayne stunned into the wall. We do a bunch of damage, and here Taric lags out, so we just kind of auto-attack him while he's underneath our turret and get a free kill.
Let's settle the score.
Now Mumu comes in, and we don't really have the damage to 100 to 0 Vayne, even if a Mumu did land a stun.
Like fish in a barrel.
pings go down onto Dragon from Amumu, but I'm currently at like 0 mana and very little HP. But Taric is dead, and it's just Vayne alone in bot lane. So I go to help Amumu, knowing that Ahri is also coming down, and if Vayne is unable to stop all three of us. So after we kill Dragon, I go up and around through our jungle to get back to bot lane, because I know that I can't really 1v1 Vayne with the HP that I had, if she were to come up and spot me coming back down.
Easy, partner.
So if you're starting out playing AD carry, all I can really recommend is that you play as safely as possible, because the goal of the AD carry is to get items that help your auto attack damage, and basically you just kind of win the end game as a result of it. So you don't want to feed your enemy kills, which gets them gold, that enables them to get those items much quicker than you. Plus, dying in general is bad. You don't really want to die ever, unless you really, really have to.
What are you playing at?
But yeah, so that's why a lot of bot lane, until a jungler comes down to gank or
Got any
an opportunity is spotted, it's pretty much just farm. Here, Taric goes for a stun shatter combo harass, and
Go ahead.
Janet just kind of shrugs it off,
Target.
lands a tornado, and walks away.
An enemy has been slain.
Easy, partner.
So here we're advancing a bit forward because we know that we have a lot of minions with us, and that if they start to engage, they're going to take a lot of damage from minions. So here we counter-engage after the Taric stuns. Now I get exhausted, I'm at next to no mana and taking a ton of auto-attack damage from Vayne. I get a Janus shield, and I really should have kept fighting Vayne, because a couple of auto-attacks would have meant she died. Because at this point in the game, I wasn't really paying attention to the lane, and that's pivotal in playing any champion anywhere. You have to pay attention to what's happening around you. Now this is hard to do at times because you start to panic once you see, oh my god, my health is really, really low, I don't think I'm going to be able to live, but I need to try to live as much as possible. Because like I said before, you don't want to feed the enemy lane kills. So I tried to run away, it didn't work, Vayne got really, really low from minions, and then, as you just saw, Mumu cleaned up the kill. So a lot of the items that you're going to see on AD carries in your games include Dorn's Blades, Berserker's Greaves, Vampiric Scepters, BF Swords, which then build into Bloodthirsters and Infinity Edges, and eventually they'll get Last Whispers, and possibly a Guardian's Angel or Banshee's Veil. Now, also Zeals and Phantom Dancers. Really good items because they increase your attack speed and your crit chance, which works really, really well with the Infinity Edge.
I got no time.
As I stated near the opening to the support video, these guides are not really champion specific, so what I just gave you was a general item build, and here we have counter engage again onto Vayne Taric, and then Flash, Ignite. It's dead Vayne. You can't really do a whole lot. Because Vayne is pretty fragile, and Graves does a ton of burst damage, as well as sustained damage with auto attacks. So we took her out no problem. And we just kind of push up the lane and do some damage to the turret.
Lucky.
But as I was saying before that fight broke out, these are not champion-specific guides, so that was the general build. And if you want to look at a champion-specific item build, I'd recommend going to Solomid or LOL Pro, any of those websites run by teams, because those are a great way to sort of learn how to play your champion. Not only do they give you item builds, they also give you ways to skill up your champion, as well as some footage of gameplay on how to play the champion in lane better than this general overview sort of style.
Try me. lucky. Got any bright ideas? I got no time for games. Lights out. I ain't got time to bleed. They picked the wrong fight. Easy, partner. Think I'm bluffing?
An enemy has been slain. Killing spree.
What are you playing?
An ally has been slain. Rampage. Enemy double kill.
Always trouble. Easy, partner.
Sorry about the long period of silence. It's just that there's not really a whole lot to say right now relating to how to play AD carry, and I don't feel like sort of killing time by talking a lot when there isn't that much to talk about.
Partner.
Plus, I'd probably just be saying and a lot. So instead, I've just kind of taken a silence and let the game sort of just play out.
What are you playing at?
Although I guess I can speak about the role of AD carries in team fights, because I'm not sure if a full-on team fight really happens in this game. But basically, as an AD carry, you want to be behind as many members of your team as possible, while still being in range of the enemy team. As much as your team wants you to just do a lot of damage and burst down the enemy carries as much as possible, if it puts you in danger, it's you dying means that you're not doing any damage at all. So what you do is just you stand back and you hit the enemy front line until they die, which shouldn't really take that long because, face it, you're an AD carry, you do tons of auto attack damage. And then once they're down, hopefully your teammates are still alive, at which point you go after the enemy carries and everything will be fine.
Go ahead. I like shooting targets. Always trouble. Lights out.
Enemy has been slain.
So there I flash behind my allied Mumu and Janna, just to give that buffer between Hecarim,
Bright
Taric,
ideas?
and myself. You'll also note that I have red buff currently on me, and for those of you who don't know, red buff means that my auto attacks will slow the target by some percent, I don't really remember what it is.
Team has
But that really helps with just fighting and chasing down the enemy team, as well as kiting.
Let's settle the score.
So right now the enemy team is going for Dragon. Our Mumu lands a pretty good steal onto Dragon. And Janna goes in. I'm a bit hesitant because, face it, it's 4v3. And Annie, Darius just burst down Janna and Mumu, so I just hightail it out of there.
Rampage.
Ahri comes down, picks up a couple kills, but ends up also dying. If I'd known that was going to happen, I probably would have stayed, dealt a bit more damage, but I can't really see the future, so I I backed away.
Got any bright ideas?
So I'm currently up about 5 to 6 CS over Vayne
Your team has
and 1
destroyed
level.
a turret.
So that's
I got
always a good thing to just be ahead of your enemy laner. Here I start to poke down Vayne a lot, because I do have that red buff advantage. I can keep her slow and keep attacking her, and maybe force her to back away, which allows me to get more CS than her and more experience.
This is gonna tickle. Think I'm bluffing? End of the line.
Your team has destroyed a turret. You have slain an enemy. Kill. An enemy has been slain.
I lock targets.
Here I make the stupid mistake to try and take out Annie with my team, but
An enemy has been
I just get bursted down really hard and die.
enemy has been slain.
Always trouble. Feeling lucky.
So now that the enemy bot lane turret has been taken down, I'm kind of free to roam about the map a bit. It should always be noted that when you start to do this, the enemy probably will start to push their lane towards your turret. When that happens, you need to get down there as fast as possible to clear the way back out, preferably before it even gets to the turret, because that just means that if the turret kills all the minions on its own, that's a lot of CS missed.
Try.
So there the ping goes down to say, hey, there's a lot of minions bot lane that could potentially take down our turret, go kill them. So that's exactly what I do, and I watch mid a bit because watching Graves move from mid lane to bot lane is not exactly entertaining.
I ain't got time to bleed. Let's settle the score. What are you playing at?
So here's going to be the last fight of the game pretty much, before the enemy team surrenders. So as you'll see, I'm trying to avoid getting as close to the enemy team as possible. I end up getting hooked in by Darius, but then I immediately pop my flash to just gain that distance back.
An enemy has been slain.
So, once more, kind of keeping at least one allied champion to buffer the distance between myself and the enemy team. You get the ace. A Mumu with the offensive GG, basically signifying, hey, leave the game, you're done. And the enemy team agrees. The 4-0 surrender vote carries on. So, that's the video, and hopefully I can get the next video out shortly. So I'll see you guys next time.